Back on Sports 225, and had a chance to look at myself in the monitor. I feel like Johnny Cash or something, you know, the whole black thing, but I could do worse. Anyway, it's TV, it's Sports 225, and I appreciate you watching. I also appreciate the opportunity I had recently to sit down with Bob Pettit. Bob Pettit is not only one of the greatest basketball players ever to play at LSU. When the NBA many years ago came up with the top 50 players of all time, 3 of them went to LSU. There was Pete Maravich, Shaquille O'Neal, who at the time I don't think was deserving, since if you did the top 50, he would definitely be in there, and Bob Pettit. I never got to see him play, but guys who did said that he was an offensive rebounding machine, as tough a player as there ever was, and even now at age 80, looks like he could almost strap it on. He's got a real strong personality, tells great stories. When he visited with a group of people at the at LSU monthly luncheon, and a group of LSU boosters and stuff and fans, and Coach Johnny Jones at the LaBerge Casino last month. It was really, it might have been February, not necessarily January, but he was such a great speaker, told some great stories, and likes poking fun at himself. But it was really fun to see him glowing in the fact that it's all these years later of the 1953 Final Four team that LSU honored this past Saturday. Those guys were all there, and I'll show you that picture now. You can see all of them at midcourt in the Pete Maravich Assembly Center. But anyway, me and Bob Pettit, and enjoy. So at this lunch, you stole the best question I've been waiting for years to be able to ask you about. 10, 11 years ago, I'm up in Chicago interviewing Ray Meyer for a book I was writing. And Ray Meyer, we finished the whole thing, and he goes, "You know Bob Pettit?" And I said, "Well, yeah, I met him." And he goes, "He was going to come here." And I looked at him, and he tells me this long story. Now, the way he told it, though, is that you were going to transfer from LSU to DePaul. And he said, he told me, I'm just telling you what he told me these years ago, that the governor, Earl Long, wasn't going to let you leave the state of Louisiana. That's the way Ray Meyer told the story.
Well, truthfully, I never got that close to committing to DePaul. I did spend the summer with Ray Meyer. We did come back through Chicago. I looked at the university. I looked at apartments. And then I got on the train and came home, and Mrs. And I had not committed to it. I was going to LSU, but, you like to be, it's nice to be wanted. And so I just discussed it a little bit with Mother, my Mrs. R.L. Pettit. Ms. R.L. Pettit said, "You're going to LSU, boy. That's it." And I said, "Yes, ma'am. That's where I'm going."
Well, she wanted her baby boy right near home.
Why, certainly. I'm an only child, and I never really considered seriously going anywhere else. Earl Long didn't have anything to do with it. It just, my mother and I talked about it, and she said, "Get that out of your mind." And so I said, "Fine, I'm coming to we're going to LSU."
I've been sitting on that story for so long, and then you go and tell everybody. I was like, you're killing me. Hey, it's got to make you feel good. You come out to a lunch like this. Some of your 53 teammates are here, but the room is packed. And to know that people are that interested still, and they want to see you and hear what you have to say, and they respect you so much.
Well, it is. It's very rewarding. I felt great about it. It was a lot of people here, and there was a lot of interest. And I think Coach Johnny Jones, has rejuvenated the interest in LSU basketball. Up until a certain period of time, LSU basketball was up and down. You had the 30s with Sparky Wade, the 40s with Frank Brown, the 50s with us, and you had Maravich. But between all those, LSU basketball would go into a deep funk. But, I think Johnny Jones, Coach Jones, has brought all this back. Have they won a lot of games? No. But are they fun to watch? Yes. They're exciting and fun. And everybody knows that he has a great recruiting class come in. And we all feel that the future of LSU basketball is really great. And I'm excited about it. I have to tell you, the last couple of 3 or 4 years have been pretty grim. I mean, you could go in there and shoot off a cannon and not hurt anybody, but that's not going to be the case now.
It's been awful for us to watch, too. I love looking back there and seeing you and Ned Clark sitting together. It's really cool that you guys have been friends for so long.
Oh, we go back to Ned and I played against each other in a church league. Probably 1946, we were both 12 or 13 years old, and he played for the First Presbyterian, and I played for the St. James Episcopal. So we go back, and of course we played high school basketball together. We roomed together at LSU and played at LSU, and we've been very close friends ever since. I mean, we talk weekly, sit down and get together. I was over at his house last night talking, he and Laura. So Ned and I go back a long way.
I can even tie it in. His wife Laura was the real estate agent on my house that I live in. And then we both have, at the time, I got a Corgi. And you know their love for Pembroke Welsh Corgis, the dogs.
Yes, I do know. I do know. I observed that again last night.
Corgis are a whole different breed, no pun intended. That's great. Somebody asked you in there about the changing of the game. And you've been in tune with it. I mean, you come to the games, you watch it. College basketball has changed so much. NBA has changed so much. And you talked about the three-point shot. Do you like the three-point shot? Because I'm one of those guys in a minority. I wish it would go away. I think it's changed the game in a negative way. I can't stand seeing people stand around.
Well, that's the problem with it. You know, you watch the game today and you see so many of these guys stand around the three-point line. All they want to do is shoot threes. And I think that's not good. But, you know, and a good coach won't let them do that. I think a good coach got his team moving, going to the basket. But at certain times of the game, you have to shoot a three. If you're down three with, 5 seconds to go, it's a great thing to have. So I think there are a lot of pros and cons to it. The game is totally different. And I said in here, I think the main thing is what these young people, the opportunities they have today, starting at 4 and 5 years old, to play basketball and get coaching and start thinking about the fundamentals. And we never had that. You know, I said it before. Most of my basketball was learned trial and error in the backyard by myself. Really? Yeah. And that's not only my case. Bob Cousy's, Paul Arizon's, George Mikins, all those guys coming along that were great players had the same experience. They had to learn so much by themselves.
You know, today's players in many ways are advanced physically because of the training and just the way people in sports evolve. But I know from watching video of you and from hearing people talk about you, you were a bad, bad man on the court. And the NBA in the old days was a really physical, no kids allowed sport.
Yeah, it was tough. And then the other team would try their best sometimes to intimidate you. They'd put a very tough man on you. He'd been known to try to beat you to death, but you survive that, and and you get used to it, and that's why I started lifting weights. I said, I'm tired of being beat on. I'm tired of being beaten. I'm gonna go out and beat on somebody. So over about 3 or 4 years, I put on 30 pounds. And
this was as a pro. You first started lifting weights.
Lifting weights with Alvin Roy right out here on Oklahoma Street in Baton Rouge, and I lifted weights after I had been my year when I was the MVP of the NBA and led the league in scoring and rebounding. I said, what can I do to get better? And the only thing I could do to get better, I thought, was to get stronger, to take the physical pounding and the games night after night after night. And it was a great help to me. But see, I'm now 25 years old, or 24, starting lifting weights. I should have been 12 or 13. And if that were the case, then all my career, I wouldn't have been worried about my strength. You look at, finally got myself to weighing 245 pounds. I'd have probably weighed 260 pounds. If I'd have been lifting weights all that time, I'd have been a lot stronger. I'd have jumped a lot higher. I'd have had more stamina. So, weights were, in those days, it was, the owner nearly had a hissy when he heard I was lifting weights. It's going to ruin your shooting touch. Well, it doesn't affect your shooting touch. I mean, anything, it just makes you stronger at the end of the game, when before you'd be so tired. Now, because of the weights and the strength and everything, you're not tired, exhausted at the end of a game. You can continue to play at a peak level.
You're 80 years old. You look great. I mean, I think I have this right. 11 years in the NBA, 11 All-Star games, 4 All-Star MVPs. Back when the All-Star game meant something, it wasn't just a goof-around shoot fest. An NBA championship, a couple of MVPs, and so it means a lot for me for you to come on the show, and I really appreciate it.
I'm happy to have done it. Thank you for asking me.
Thank you. Hope you enjoyed watching that as much as I like talking to Bob Pettit. He's a fascinating guy, and, of course, what a great player, and it's very gracious of him to give us that much time. When we get back, Glenn Gilbo, the sports writer for the Gannett News Service, joins me. I'm Lee Feinswog. You're watching Sports 225.